urging pregnant women to avoid all non-essential travel to Florida. State officials, meanwhile, are urging people not to cancel travel plans, but to take precautions. There are about 100 days to go until the presidential election, and now the race for the White House is shifting into high gear. Democrat Hillary Clinton and her running mate Tim Kaine are on a bus tour through two battleground states, Pennsylvania and Ohio. Republicans Donald Trump and Mike Pence taking the day off, but Trump will be campaigning in those states next week. You're listening to ABC News.
Hiring people is probably the worst part of my job. It's such a hassle, the searching, the sorting through resumes. Most people don't have the right experience.
We started using ZipRecruiter about 3 months ago. Right from the start, you could tell it was going to make hiring a lot easier. One click and my job was posted to 100+ job boards, all the top sites.
All of the candidates came to my dashboard, and it's easy to compare them. Thumbs up if I liked them, thumbs down if I didn't. No emails and attachments, printing up docs, phone calls, none of that.
And I couldn't believe the number of great applicants we got. I had the person we needed within 1 week. I don't know how we hired before ZipRecruiter.
Whether you're looking to fill one position or 20, find the best candidates with ZipRecruiter, where your job is just one click away from 100+ job sites. ZipRecruiter, the fastest way to hire. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/ABC Radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/ABC Radio. ZipRecruiter.com/ABC Radio.
An outpouring of support for police in San Diego following the fatal shooting of one officer and the wounding of another in the line of duty. Chief Shelley Zimmerman.
So many community members coming up and thanking the officers. More than that has ever happened before, and I will tell you that means everything.
Zimmerman says both officers were part of the department's gang suppression unit. The suspected shooter was critically wounded. Authorities in Wyoming say they caught a bank robber who told them she didn't do it for the money.
The suspect, a homeless woman, told police that she couldn't get a room at a shelter and she could no longer stay on the streets. So she robbed a bank in Cheyenne on Friday and waited for police to come and arrest her. Police say the woman got thousands of dollars from the teller, took the cash outside, threw it in the air, and even gave some of it away before police arrived, and she asked them to put her behind bars. Mona Rivera, ABC News.
The Supreme Court has said flag burning is a protected form of free speech, but an Illinois man was jailed on the 4th of July under an old state law that still says it's illegal. An Associated Press analysis found that at least 40 states have similar laws which occasionally lead to arrests. The First Amendment Center says those laws need to be repealed, but legislators say they have little incentive to do so because they believe a repeal may alienate some voters. This is ABC News.
Here's a special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. With a call to National Tax Helpline, you can stop the wage garnishments, levies, and tax liens now. Take down the number now for the Tax Helpline, 800-708-4718. That's 800-708-4718 for free information. 800-708-4718.
Daria Albinger, ABC News.
From the KMET Weather Center for Beaumont on the Pass area, we'll have mostly sunny skies with a chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms. For high 97, winds will gust to 25 miles an hour. There's a chance of a shower. We could have a thunderstorm this evening. Over 90 to partly cloudy and windy with a low of 75. For the Inland Empire, we'll have sunny and breezy conditions today with a high of 96 with winds to 20 miles an hour. For the desert cities, there's a 20% chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms. It'll mostly sunny and hot with a high of 109. I'm Rod Tanner for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
Summer in the Inland Empire. You know what that means. Sunny days and hot temperatures that make you want to stay inside. Franklin Mechanical Systems can repair or replace your air conditioning unit to get it working cool before the heat hits. For cleaning, repair, or a new installation, call them for a free estimate. Franklin Mechanical Systems for all your residential and commercial air conditioning needs. Call their Beaumont office at 951-845-1000. That's 951-845-1000 and get cool today. The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
It's time for Constitution Radio at Douglas v. Gibbs, right here on KMET 1490 1490 AM. Listen worldwide, KMET1490am.com, or go to the website and get your phone application, boy, I'm going to have to say this correctly there, Alex, phone app. There's an app that you can tune into to be able to listen to and to catch all the shows in case you don't have the radio tune in or you can't seem to get it in. Is everything okay there, Alex? We got a headset difficulty? There we go. How you doing?
I don't hear anything.
Well, not yet, because I'm talking.
Okay.
I got Alex next to me, as always. Hey, Alex, how you doing today?
Well, I'm just ducky, thank you very much.
Just ducky?
Yeah. I see the Democrats splitting and caviling and arguing, and it just makes my heart sing.
Well, you know, it's funny because didn't Hillary say something to Reince Priebus? Priebus, is that his name? Yeah. About how the Republican Party was in disarray, but yet the Democrat Party is even more disarray.
I had a friend, the last hippie I know, call me up. He never calls me. He called me up during the Republican convention and just giggled and asked me all these questions about how we can possibly call ourselves a. I have thought to call him up, but I'm thinking, nah, he knows what I'm thinking.
Well, the thing is, there's the conservative wing of the Republican Party and the establishment aren't getting along, and that's for good reason, because the establishment is basically an infiltration by the left. And there's a lot of people who have left the party largely because of that. And it's like I tell people, I'm a registered Republican, not because I'm a Republican, but because of the two parties. I think it's the one closest to what I believe, or at least the platform is. Unfortunately, a lot of the politicians are not following that platform. But the Democrat Party has gone so far to the left. It's gotten so well, actually, it hasn't moved. It's always been there. It's just now everybody sees it. They're revealing how far to the left they truly are. And there's even Democrats running from that party now.
It's a lot bigger percentage of the membership. They've always relied on, what do they call them? Useful idiots, you know, the foot soldiers.
Right.
Now it's out in the open for everybody to see. And there's lots more of them. They say that at least half of Bernie's supporters are hardcore socialists. That's never been the case in America before.
You know, and real quick, because we do have the conventions going on, before we bring on the guests, let's talk about story number 3 for just a moment, and we'll go deeper into it after the guest. Democrat convention. Did you know at the Democrat National Convention that Bernie Sanders posters and signs were being taken from the Bernie Sanders fans there at the door? They were taking them from them. Hey, if you're going to be in this convention, you can't have your Bernie Sanders sign. Well, now, if that isn't authoritarianism, I don't know what is.
If they can do it in their computer system, they can do it on the floor as well.
Well
this is top down.
Did you see? That? Matter of fact, Sean, our engineer, sent this to me. There was a Craigslist ad that went out. This is great. Here's how it reads. Craigslist ad out in Philadelphia. Actors needed for National Convention, Philadelphia. Looking for 700 people to be utilized as actors during the National Convention. We currently have a number of empty seats. Did you? I don't think that was going on in Republican, right? The empty seats. But anyway, we have a number of empty seats that will need to be filled, as we are currently removing a number of people, and need to refill their seats for the remainder of the conference. Removing what people? You will be paid $50 each night for the remainder of the convention. You will be required to cheer at all times and will be asked to dress properly. I know that's funny. And possibly wear some promotional material. So
you talk about out in the open. That's pretty out in the open.
Anyway, all right. Before we get any deeper into the Democrat National Convention, let's bring our guest on. Our guest found Constitution Radio and yours truly on Twitter originally. He has since communicated with me through Facebook. And yeah, all of you folks out there, you independents, and I don't care what party, I don't care if you're far left, far right, somewhere in between, constitutionalist, not constitutionalist, straight out Marxist, I don't care who you are. Get in contact with me. I would love to have you on the show to talk to you. And this gentleman Tom, and I'm not even going to try your last name because I have a feeling I'll probably just butcher it. But Tom is running as a write-in candidate for president. And a couple years ago, you ran for governor of Pennsylvania, if I have that right, correct?
Yes.
All right. So, Tom, you are a constitutionalist. Your platform is we get back to the Constitution and we can get this country turned around. You call yourself an ex-Republican or a former Republican. You left the Republican Party. You're now an independent. Tell us a little bit about your campaign.
I'm not an independent.
I'm sorry?
I'm not an independent.
You're not an independent?
No. I'm probably, I don't know if I'm the only registered party member of this party. It's a new party. It's called United Constitution Party.
You know, I've heard of that. I came across it not too long ago, as a matter of fact. There's a number of them out there. I always figured if I was to create a party, I'd call it the Founders Party. But the United Constitution Party, which is different than the Constitution Party that we've seen in the past, which has gotten, interestingly, very libertarian.
We have an open membership.
It's an open membership. Okay,
you can be a member of our party and still being registered as whatever party you're in.
Okay, so in other words, you're saying that all citizens are at-large members?
No, you have to become a member, but you can be a member no matter who you are, as long as you support the Constitution of the United States.
So the vetting process. Okay, now great. Now let's move on here because I want to find out: are you truly a constitutional candidate? You said earlier, and when we were off mic, I was talking about how to stop all of the anti-Trump protesters and the Black Lives Matter protesters because a lot of them are paid protesters. They're getting paid. These are professional agitators that are getting paid $50, $100 to be out there. And so,
where can I get that job?
I'm sorry?
I would love to be a paid Trump protester.
Now, I've been saying on the air for a while now, and this was actually an idea that one of my listeners actually sent to me. She's in Canada, so I'm not going to take full credit for it, but it's a great idea. Is you get the signs along with all these other anti-whatever people, and you mix right into the crowd. Then you just start talking among yourselves about how you're getting paid $300 or $400 to be out there, and it's funny because when it comes to someone's own wallet, they get more and more conservative. Matter of fact, I used to be a part of a different radio station, and the owner proclaimed he was hard left liberal, but yet when it came to trying to make money at the station and things like that, he sounded quite conservative. Matter of fact, he was even battling the environmentalists who he would normally support until it came to his antenna and moving his antenna around, and then suddenly he sounded quite conservative. And so you get out there, you start talking among yourselves that you're making $300, $400 as protesters, and the professional agitators, well, they're going to get upset because they're only getting paid $50 to $100. That's an immediate way to get rid of them. And you chimed in saying, well, the way to get rid of it and stop that is to get back to the Constitution, which is correct. That's down the road. Unfortunately, we don't have a switch that we can flip. But what do you mean by that?
What do I mean by getting back to the Constitution?
Yeah.
Simply that. We have to get back to the Constitution.
Okay, and how do we do that?
How do we do that? Well, first of all, we have to educate the American people as to how good the Constitution really is. I mean, under the Constitution, if you want to smoke a joint while watching the Super Bowl, you may.
Well, actually, that's up to each state. All federal drug laws are unconstitutional, but if there's a state that says, no, we don't...
Well, now, wait. The state legislatures, state executives, they must also abide by the U.S. Constitution.
U.S. Constitution applies to the federal government. They have state constitutions.
If the state passes, well, even if the state constitution has a plank or whatever you want to call it, an article, amendment, or whatever, that goes contrary to the U.S. Constitution, that's unconstitutional.
Stop right there. Stop right there. Let's talk about Article 6 for a minute. Article 6 says, which is what you're referring to, says this Constitution and all. Here, let me give the proper language here. This Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. Now, that said, that means that states cannot have laws that are contrary to constitutional federal laws.
Right.
But,
I'll give you a great example. I'll give you a great example.
Drug laws are not a federal authority. There's nothing about drugs in the Constitution. Therefore, the states, it's not possible for them to have a law contrary to the federally constitutional law on drugs because they don't have the authority in the first place. Then you go to the 10th Amendment, and what does the 10th Amendment say? 10th Amendment says that the powers not delegated to the United States by Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So in other words, there's no power regarding drug laws given to the federal government. There's no prohibition anywhere in the Constitution to the states. Therefore, it's a state issue. So the states do have the right and the authority to determine laws regarding drugs, marijuana, or whatever it may be, each state. So if one state wants to be legal and another state wants to be illegal, that's fine because it's totally a state issue.
Mm-hmm.
So
let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. The Second Amendment tells us that the people have the right to bear arms.
Mm-hmm. And it is a natural right that belongs to us regardless.
May I explain?
Yeah, go ahead.
If a state passes gun control laws, they are unconstitutional.
Wrong.
Oh, that wrong?
Absolutely. All right, let's back up a little bit. Okay. Yes, the right to keep and bear arms is a right. It belongs to me. And no government should be able to take that right. However, when the Second Amendment and the Bill of Rights in general were written, they apply to the federal government. The term there is shall not be infringed. That means
but
any infringement whatsoever.
Is the
hang on.
supreme law of the land.
I stopped so you could talk. Stop so I can. So every single federal gun law is unconstitutional. However,
every gun law is unconstitutional.
However, I'm sorry, every federal gun law is unconstitutional. There is, however, nothing in the Constitution that prohibits the states from having gun laws. So gun laws,
Article 6.
States can have gun laws.
Article 6.
Article 6, once again, we're talking about
the states
U.S.
are bound
laws.
to the U.S. Constitution. And, by the way, I don't know about any other state, but here in Pennsylvania, the legislature and the governor and the judges, they all take an oath to honor the U.S. Constitution.
All right, let me ask you a question real quick, because I want to get down to this here. Is the federal government tasked with guaranteeing our rights?
That is their primary duty, yes.
Okay. That's where we're in trouble here, because it's not their job to guarantee our rights. It's our job to guarantee our rights. Let me give you an example. Mute him for a second, Sean, so I can speak without him talking. Okay, here's the thing. It's like McDonald v. Chicago. If you remember that case where Chicago had banned handguns. And the case had worked its way through the federal court system. And it got all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that Chicago could not ban handguns because of the Second Amendment. What they did is they applied the Second Amendment to a city or to the state. And when that happened, I got all kinds of emails and phone calls saying, "Hey, Doug, it was a win for gun rights and a win for the Second Amendment." And I said, don't be so sure. By allowing the federal government to guarantee your rights, you're allowing them to define them. And when the Supreme Court told Chicago it could not ban handguns, and it was the right decision in the sense of our natural rights, I get that. But when the federal courts told Chicago it could not ban handguns, what had happened was the federal court just told the city what it can or can't do regarding our gun rights. And it's none of the federal government's business.
I see. So in other words, we have no rights under our Constitution.
No, that's not what I said.
Token,
Our rights. Hang on. See, the Constitution was written to create a federal government. Your rights, you inherited them. They belong to you because God gave them to you. So your rights belong to you no matter what, whether it's on a piece of paper or not. It is your right. And the Second Amendment was written to tell the federal government, hands off our rights. At a more local level, we have a little more control over our government. So we can have laws regarding those rights. Now, they're still your rights, and you're supposed to control your local government on that.
Your guns.
Say it again?
You're saying the states can confiscate your guns anytime they want to.
They shouldn't. Those are our rights. If they try to, it's up to us to keep them from doing it.
But it's written in the Constitution. You're saying the Constitution doesn't matter in the states.
Right. The Constitution is a contract between the states to create a federal government. The state, if all of that also applied to states, why would we have state constitutions? What's the purpose?
Bill of Rights was ratified by the states, was it not?
What's the purpose of state constitutions? The Constitution is a contract between the states to create a federal government.
Yeah. So then the states ratified the Constitution.
They ratified the Constitution.
So they agreed
everything in it
with
applies to the federal government unless it says otherwise. For example, in Article 1, Section 10, there are prohibitions to the states that they decided the states put in there themselves so that there was no interference with the job given to the federal government. Okay, well, it's sort of like, let me give you an example, and this is something I use in some of my speeches, and then we got to go to break, and then we'll bring it back again. Because remember, this is all about contract law anyway. It's a contract. But let's say you have a contract with a construction company to build a room in your house. And in that contract is all the authorities granted, right? That, they're going to build the room this size and use these materials. And there might be some things in there that you might put to restrict you a little bit so you don't interfere, like homeowner will not be in the construction zone during working hours or something like that. But that contract wasn't written to tell you what to do. It was written to tell who you're hiring what to do. Same thing here. It was written to create a federal government, to tell the federal government what it can or can't do, to give it authorities and nothing more. The states, however, are the parents here. They are the contract makers. And before the Constitution, they owned every single power and every single authority on every single issue. And our states are supposed to be closer to us, and we're supposed to have control of our states. Now, that said, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we will continue.
You got a dent in your door, a scratch in your fender, or a scratch in your door and a dent in your fender. If you need auto detailing, if you need fire shooting decals on the side of your car, if you need a rally stripe right down the middle of your hardtop, I don't care what it is. The Patriots at All-Star Collision are the place you want to go. They're the only place to go. 522 Railroad Street in Corona. Web address allstarci.com to see all that they do and what they're all about. Phone number 951-279-9161. All-Star Collision, the kings of wreck and roll.
What's your constitutional IQ? Your quest to learn the Constitution can be fun for the whole family. Learn about the Constitution as you play the Constitution Quest board game. Learn more at constitutionquest.com.
Hi, this is Ed Hoffman, President Wholesale Capital Corporation, your direct mortgage lender. Real estate prices are still low, which means now's the time to buy your next home before they go up. Whether it's a home to live in, a vacation house, or an investment property, we can meet your mortgage financing needs to help you realize the next phase of your American dream. At Wholesale Capital Corporation, we make sure you get a loan that you can afford with terms that work for you. Wholesale Capital welcomes FHA buyers, conventional buyers, jumbo loan buyers, and we proudly help the U.S. military veterans take advantage of the zero down payment VA loan program. Nobody treats veterans better than Wholesale Capital Corporation. Seniors, if you're interested in creating an additional stream of income or just making your mortgage payment go away with a reverse mortgage, Wholesale Capital would love to help you. To speak with a loan officer who has your best interests in mind, call Wholesale Capital at 855-640-2020. That's area code 855-640-2020. Wholesale Capital Corporation, where we can close.
Hey, do you know about the USA? Do you know about the government? Can you tell me about the Constitution? Hey, learn about the USA.
The Constitution is the instruction booklet for taking back the country. Douglas V. Gibbs.
1787, I'm told our founding fathers did agree to write a list of principles for keeping people free. The USA was just starting out.
Help me fight the good fight. This radio program is funded by advertising dollars. So, if you are a business, add Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs to your business portfolio. If you are a listener, become a patron of the business's advertising on this program. Without advertising, your weekend dose of truth ends. With more advertising, Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs grows, and we will be on the way to win the battle to restore the Republic. To learn more, email us at constitutionspeaker@yahoo.com or visit douglasvgibbs.com.
And now, back to our program.
Welcome back, Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs. We're going to continue our discussion with Tom here. And let me read something from an article that I found. And now, it is well understood by all historians that the Bill of Rights originally only applied to the federal government. Here's let me give you a paragraph that explains that. Incorporation in U.S. law is the process by which American courts have applied portions of the U.S. Bill of Rights to the states. Prior to 1925, the Bill of Rights was held only to apply to the federal government. Under the Incorporation doctrine, most provisions of the Bill of Rights now also apply to the state and local governments. The reason why the left has done that is it's a way for the federal government to control the states by going a backdoor of guaranteeing or saying that they guarantee our rights. And it's actually a very damaging doctrine. One other thing I want to read you, this is from the Federalist number 45 by James Madison, and it's the third to last paragraph in that. And here's how it reads. The powers delegated by the proposed Constitution to the federal government are few and defined. Those which are to remain in the state governments are numerous and indefinite. The former will be exercised principally on external objects as war, peace, negotiation, and foreign commerce, with which last the power of taxation will, for the most part, be connected. The powers reserved to the several states will extend to all the objects which, in the ordinary course of affairs, concern the lives, liberties, and properties of the people and the internal order, improvement, and prosperity of the state. Now, another example, another way to prove what I'm saying about the federal government, Bill of Rights, and the states is to talk about religious liberties. After the Bill of Rights were written and ratified by the states, 11 of the 13 states had established churches. Mm-hmm. But the First Amendment says there shall be no established church. However,
the First Amendment
hang on,
with...
Tom, let me finish. The
Okay.
state still had established churches. One of the cases that came up was in Danbury, Connecticut. And what happened was the Puritans were in the established church of Connecticut. And under Adams, they couldn't get any help. And Jefferson and Madison had worked together to bring about the Religious Freedom Act in Virginia. And so when Jefferson won the presidency in 1800, the Danbury Baptists were excited because, hey, this is their guy. He's going to help them. So Jefferson became president. He gets the letter from the Danbury Baptists, and he responds to them saying, hey, because they congratulated him and asked for his help, and he responded with a letter that basically said that the federal government, it's not a federal issue. If you want to change, your situation, your state regarding religious liberties, that you have to take care of it within your state, because religion is a state issue. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. All of the Bill of Rights were designed, back up, the Constitution is a contract to create a federal government, to tell it what's allowed to do. And actually, originally, James Madison was even against the writing of a Bill of Rights because he didn't feel it was necessary. For example, Second Amendment. Why do we need a Second Amendment, he argued? Because there is nothing in the Constitution that gives the federal government authority over our gun rights. But people like George Mason felt that even though no authority was granted, there needed to be a Bill of Rights which would echo the Declaration of Rights from 1688, 1689 actually, in Britain, that would spell out in specific language also that the federal government cannot touch these issues. It's a local issue, going back to the 10th Amendment. Now, that said, I am not saying that because the Second Amendment doesn't apply to states, that means the states can stomp all of your rights. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it was written to the federal government because this contract was about creating the federal government, just like the contract you might have with a contractor to build a room is specifically engineered towards that particular contractor. Now, that said, your right to keep and bear arms never stopped being your right. It is your right. However, your state constitution is supposed to address those issues at the local level. Now, here in California, one of the dangers is there is no language in the state constitution about that. It is your right. Take care of it. Defend it through your state.
You're talking about the principles of federation, that our government, our federal government, the union of the states was created by the states.
Right.
Right. So our country was built from the states up and not the other way around.
Right.
That's what you're saying. And I agree with that. But within that, you must understand that Article 6 was agreed upon by the states.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is a part of the contract.
It is a part of the contract, but you have misinterpreted it.
Says that the states must be in obedience to the U.S. Constitution.
Right. No, that's not what it says.
What does Article 6 say?
It says, this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges, now, the supreme law of the land. And it applies to the federal government.
Okay.
Now, hang on. And what does it say? This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which are made in pursuance thereof. So first of all, any unconstitutional law is not the supreme law of the land.
Several state legislatures, all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support the Constitution.
Right.
So the state governments are bound by oath or affirmation, which they do, by the way. The state government...
Which goes back to the 10th Amendment.
Well, okay.
At what point where in the Constitution does it state specifically that the states are prohibited on any of those issues? It's not.
Okay, and that's where I agree with you about the 10th Amendment. Powers delegated to the United States government is not a power that the states have.
Right.
Anything
and there's no power given to the federal government regarding gun rights.
Government, nor prohibited, is then reserved to the states or to the people.
Right.
Okay. So if the Constitution says nothing about something, then it's a state issue, completely, 100%. And this is what is behind my position on abortion, Roe v. Wade. I don't know if you read that article that I sent you or not. The state of Texas passed a law regarding reproduction and abortion.
Right.
It was challenged in federal court. Federal court should have never, ever, ever heard that case.
Right. Because it's not a federal issue.
Because it's not a federal issue.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Constitution is silent on that issue, and that's where I'm having some difficulty, because the Constitution is not silent on the right to keep and bear arms. It says this right shall not be infringed.
Exactly.
But it was
I take
specifically
that to be a.
Okay, now, first of all,
So
that's
if
specifically
you're a
applied to the federal
United
government.
States
Second of all,
You say it applies only to the federal government, but I'm saying the federal government the Constitution has stated its position,
okay.
and that's it.
So what you're saying is shall not be infringed, period, across the board for state and federal government.
Whereas
so therefore,
the
a state should be able to pass a law allowing 3-year-olds to buy a gun, right?
No, it says here Congress
shall not infringe.
Congress in a First Amendment it says Congress shall make no law respecting. That limits it to just the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
But the Second Amendment doesn't say it's Congress. It's saying it shall not be infringed.
Now here's how they wrote it. Let me show you something real quick here. Here's how they wrote it. Remember Article 1, Section 8, where it says Congress shall have the power to. Now, with each clause afterwards, Congress shall have power was removed. It wasn't necessary to repeat it over and over and over and over. So they just put to. Same thing here in the Bill of Rights. It wasn't necessary to put Congress shall make no law over and over and over. It was already established. This is about the federal government. Congress shall make no law.
My simple reading of the Second Amendment is this right shall not be infringed.
Okay, now, because we're running out of time, we're going to have to let Tom go. Here's both of your homework. Read the state ratifying conventions notes. The state ratifying convention notes address all of this, along with James Madison's notes on the federal convention. Those are the homework. Tom, great spending time with you. Before I let you go, because I want to be as fair as I can to you, how can people learn more about what you're doing running for president? Do you have a website that they can go to?
You can find it. If you Google Rescue America, you'll find it.
Okay, Rescue America. And Tom, thanks for the time. I enjoyed it, even though we kind of had a little difference of opinion on a few things. But you are trying to showcase the Constitution, and I'm all for that. Thank you for making sure that we try to get back to that document. And now, before we wind up going to break, what do you got for us there, Alex?
Well, I got either my poem or a book review kind of thing. How about I do the poem?
How about you do the poem? Go for it.
The poem was written in 1986, and it speaks to our reaction to the Islamic terrorism, just as it spoke then to our reaction to communist imperialism. This poem is called World War Last. Mao Zedong said it back 50-some years ago. In 21, we got the word from Comrade Chairman Ho. The Western world was guilty of crimes. The sentence could only be blood. A bloody red scythe must mow them down, their sovereignty dragged in the mud. The whole wide world must flame in war, just one little bit at a time. The struggle for peace, a murder crusade for the struggling souls of mankind. V.I. Lenin crafted the plan. His nightmare lives on to this day. The Western world, blinded by fear, lifts millions of faces to pray. Nuclear fire sears their hearts, a fire that no one will light, an unlit fire that darkens the mind and plunges the world into night. The tyranny of Genghis Khan, the empire that Hitler dreamed of, were simple-minded child's play compared to the socialist dove. The leftist sings a song of peace, a song of battle flags furled. All battle flags except, that is, the one that now darkens the world. Not only must we bend our knee when hammer and sickle appear, we must scorn the song of Kennedy, abandoning friends far and near. Who sings that we shall overcome? It certainly can't be us, we who cower and wring our hands while friends are ground into dust. Where are the heroes of 76, the hearts that always stood true? Thank God they cannot see us now. Our shame would break them in two.
When we return, WikiLeaks versus the Democrats, Congressional Central America Caucus and their treasonous act, and Baltimore's Marilyn Mosby and her perjury. When we return. The The spirit of Paul Revere is alive and well and broadcasting on KMET AM 1490. Constitutionalist Douglas V. Gibbs hosts a roundtable of local citizens through local, state, and national issues every Saturday at 8 a.m. Thomas Jefferson said, "We in America do not have government by the majority. We have government by the majority who participate." So, participate. Listen to Conservative Voice Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. and join Paul Revere's modern Ride for Liberty.
The true patriots of All-Star Collision have been proudly serving the Inland Empire for over 20 years. Built on honesty, integrity, quality, and old-fashioned customer service, we offer lifetime warranties for our work, and every vehicle serviced by All-Star Collision is washed, detailed, the headlights polished, fluids are checked and topped off, safety checked, and returned in showroom condition. We offer free estimates, are approved by major insurance companies, and accept all claims for all cars and trucks. We use computerized frame straightening to factory specifications, offer fiberglass body repair and paint, free local pickup and delivery, and after-hours towing. Mention this radio program at drop-off and receive $100 off or a free rental car for up to 5 days during your repair. Visit us at allstarci.com or at 522 Railroad Street in Corona. Call us at 951-279-9161. We are the kings of wreck and roll.
Hi, this is Ed Hoffman, President Wholesale Capital Corporation, your direct mortgage lender. Real estate prices are still low, which means now's the time to buy your next home before they go up. Whether it's a home to live in, a vacation house, or an investment property, we can meet your mortgage financing needs to help you realize the next phase of your American dream. At Wholesale Capital Corporation, we make sure you get a loan that you can afford with terms that work for you. Wholesale Capital welcomes FHA buyers, conventional buyers, jumbo loan buyers, and we proudly help the U.S. military veterans take advantage of the zero down payment VA loan program. Nobody treats veterans better than Wholesale Capital Corporation. Seniors, if you're interested in creating an additional stream of income or just making your mortgage payment go away with a reverse mortgage, Wholesale Capital would love to help you. To speak with a loan officer who has your best interests in mind, call Wholesale Capital at 855-640-2020. That's area code 855-640-2020. Wholesale Capital Corporation, where we can close.
And now, back to our program.
And welcome back, Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs. In the Declaration of Independence, our rights are given 4 characteristics. And the separable and equal station to which laws of nature and nature's God entitle them. So first, you're entitled to your rights. They're not, okay. Then it says that we hold these truths to be self-evident. So your rights are not only the truth, but that's self-evident. You know what your rights are. That all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator. You are endowed by your Creator with your rights. With certain unalienable rights. They're unalienable. Unseparable from you. Okay? So your rights belong to you, regardless of what a piece of paper says, what a Bill of Rights says, what a state constitution says, what a U.S. Constitution says. Your rights no matter what. Okay? So first of all, understand that when this was written, it was understood. You own your rights. No piece of paper separates you from your rights. They are yours, period.
The point is, can a state make a law denying you your right?
Well, we're not talking about denying you your right.
If they say I can't have my gun at home, then they're denying me my right.
We're going extreme here. Hang on a second. Now, I will tell you, based on letters between the Founding Fathers, the state ratification notes, and James Madison's notes during the convention, that everything in this Constitution was addressed towards the federal government, not to the states. They did not write this Constitution to limit themselves. This is a contract between the states. They are the parents here. To create a federal government, to do what needs to be done externally. Internal issues belong to the states. External issues belong to the federal government. So in other words, our rights, because it's an internal issue, is none of the federal government's business. Now, that said, states can have certain authorities regarding our rights. However, remember, their state governments back then and the way we look at state government now is a totally different animal. First of all, they weren't worried about the states running amok. They were worried about the central government running amok. Now, after the Constitution was ratified, after the Bill of Rights was ratified, those political leaders of the day went to their states to ensure there was similar language, and in some cases exact language, in their state constitutions. If the Bill of Rights and this Constitution also applied to the states, why would they feel the need to put that language in their state constitutions?
To acknowledge
because
that those things are in fact
well,
law.
Wouldn't need to be. Why even have a state constitution? If this covers everything, if this federal constitution covers it, why even have a state constitution?
It only covers those things that it says it covers. It leaves everything else to the states and to the people. And I'm saying,
yeah, and it does leave everything to the states. The Bill of Rights was specifically to the federal government. Those are issues that belong in the states. They're internal issues. Now, that said, if you were to use the language of the Second Amendment, shall not be infringed, that would mean every single gun law in the country, state, city, and federal, would be unlawful.
And I think they are.
So when a state passes a law saying that 3-year-olds are not allowed to buy a gun, that's unlawful. 3-year-olds should be able to go buy a gun.
It's up to the parents to make sure that the 3-year-old.
Okay, what about the guy who just got out of prison for slaughtering a bunch of people?
The Constitution says that we may imprison people if they are guilty of a crime.
And when he gets out of jail, he can just go buy a gun no matter what.
Does it not say the Constitution?
I'm asking a question. Should he be able to buy a gun the moment he gets out of prison?
No.
Why?
Because just the same as we're allowed to deny a person their freedom if they've committed a crime,
who makes that decision?
Deny them other rights.
Then who makes that decision?
The courts.
The courts of what place?
Whichever. The person who commits a crime does not have all his constitutional rights. They're taken away.
But you just said that
he's not allowed to vote.
No, but based on your guys' arguments, that would be unconstitutional.
No, because the Constitution specifically says that criminals may be treated differently and denied their rights.
No, it doesn't.
But I remember reading that. I'd have to look it up, but I remember reading that.
This applies to the federal government. If your local government or your state government feels the need to have laws regarding our rights, it is permissible according to the 10th Amendment.
How about if a
state
criminal denies you the right to free speech? Can they do that?
Then you better change it. Then you better fight it locally. See, here's my point. Hang on. Here's my point. What you're saying then is we don't need to fight for our rights because a piece of paper protects them.
I'm saying, no, that's specious. I'm saying that by your definition, I'm sorry we're in this argument.
No, this is good radio.
What I'm saying is that the states do not have the right to deny me my 10th Amendment.
Your First Amendment or whatever. Your freedom of speech, you do have freedom of speech no matter what.
I have freedom of religion as well.
But if your state denies you of your freedom of speech, is it the federal government's job to tell them no? Because if it is, you just gave the federal government the allowance to define what freedom of speech is.
The Constitution is not silent on freedom of speech. It says I have it.
Right.
And that's law.
Congress shall make no law. It doesn't say anything about the states. So now if the states deny you your freedom of speech, where do you go to make sure your freedom of speech is not denied?
You go to the ballot.
Go to the ballot at what level?
But this First Amendment is different in that it says Congress shall make no law.
The Second Amendment, the Third Amendment, they all apply to the federal government.
I'm saying that if the Constitution says I have a right to keep and bear arms, no one has the right to take it away from me.
No one has a right to. You're right. You are correct. But not because, hang on, not because the Second Amendment says so, but because it's an inherent right.
But by law, the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed.
Right.
I take
to the
that
federal
as
government
absolute.
It says that. To the federal government it says that.
I don't read that.
Okay, well that's why you need to go and study the debates around this, because every single question that you may ask was addressed in the state ratification conventions.
I take a simple, common language reading of the Constitution. It says, Second Amendment, state that no one has the right to take away my right to keep and bear arms. That's it.
Okay.
I don't. It doesn't have to be any more complicated. than that.
Well, you're right that your right to keep and bear arms is your right, and it's not supposed to be taken away. It's not supposed to be. However, the way the Constitution is written, the Constitution applies to the federal government. It was written to create the federal government. It wasn't written to create the states. It wasn't written to dictate to the states. It wasn't written to tell the states what they can and can't do, because the states were the creators of this document. They were the creators of the federal government. This is a contract regarding the federal government. So therefore, what's in it applies to the federal government, just like if you hired a contractor to add a room, it applies to that contractor. Now, if you have your own rules within your house, you are going to have something separate from that contract, and it may or may not mirror that contract.
We the people.
We the people of these states that are united, of the United States.
We the people. The people are the ones who have these rights guaranteed.
We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. That's one of the first reasons.
And that sounds like in order to create a militia. Doesn't matter.
No, that's not what it is.
It's we the people.
All right, you need to study Madison's notes. All right, we got two more things to talk about, or three more things to talk about. So let's, before we run out of time, here's what WikiLeaks has done to the Democrat Party, and you're gonna enjoy this. WikiLeaks has found emails and released them. They hacked into the Democrat National Committee officials' emails. Has 20,000 emails, it says, are from the accounts of Democratic National Committee officials. And they released these emails right before the launch date of the Democratic Party National Convention. And here's some of the wording. Some of the accusations. The emails released show that the Democrats planned, organized, and orchestrated the protests against Donald Trump, that the whole anti-Trump movement was created by the Democrats because the billionaire dared to run against them, and that these professional agitators that were the anti-Trump protesters were paid and designed to be there. One of the casualties of the WikiLeaks release has been Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She has actually resigned because of what's in a lot of these emails.
But another casualty is that the cover is off. The beast is exposed, and it is absolutely partisan, illegal, immoral, and wrong.
Also, here we go. Here's one of the emails, one of the wording about Hillary Clinton. She doesn't want, this is actual wording from one of the emails. She doesn't want the people knowing about her relationships on Wall Street. She wants to achieve consistency, and the best way to do that is to keep the people ignorant. You like that one? That is right out of one of the Democrat emails about Hillary Clinton. Okay? Now, real quick, because we're running out of time rapidly. Next story. Oh, by the way, I've decided I'm going to do some, I'm going to dig up some documents for you guys about the Second Amendment next week. So this discussion we've been having about Second Amendment, I'm going to give you some founding documents next week to satisfy your frustration.
I'm not frustrated. I have my position, and I believe in it. I'm fine.
Good for you. I'm going to blow it up. All right. All right. On the website by Norma Torres, a Democrat member of the U.S. Congress from Southern California, in an article bragging about the Congressional Central America Caucus meeting with Juan Orlando Hernandez, the president of Honduras. Their purpose? To follow up regarding a letter signed by 77 members of Congress calling on President Obama to grant temporary protected status to individuals that are here illegally from Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. Okay, now.
On what basis do they make that claim?
Well, you know, here's the thing. Okay, so these people are already in here in this country illegally, right? So rather than going to the Constitution, first let's go to just U.S. Code, all right? U.S. Code sections 1324 and 1325 considers it a felony to be concealing, harboring, or sheltering illegal aliens, as well as violating the Immigration and Naturalization Act, sections 274 and 275. Illegal entry in the United States, entry without inspection is a misdemeanor, according to INA section 275, Chapter 8, U.S. Code section 1324. Repeated illegal entry is a felony. Okay, so first of all, we've got Congress now aiding and abetting felons. Okay, now, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 4 of the United States Constitution gives power to Congress to establish uniform rule of naturalization, which is about naturalization not getting into this country. However, Article 4, Section 4 reads that the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. So, in other words, well, first of all, it's illegal immigration and invasion.
Yes.
Well, according to the dictionary, absolutely. The dictionary calls invasion an intrusion or encroachment. So by entering legally, they are breaking the law and forcing themselves into our country. It is an intrusion or encroachment. By not securing the border, they are acting unconstitutionally, and now they're harboring these illegal persons. Now, and mixed into these people are terrorists and so on and so forth.
The Democrats do not believe in the rule of law. They believe in the rule of decree by their what's the word? Their tyrant.
And finally, story number 1, Baltimore, the situation with the Freddie Gray case. We've got Marilyn Mosby, the Attorney General that's been heading all this up. Here's what Andrew McCarthy has said, that she is guilty of perjury. There are text messages between the police investigators and the attorney for the prosecution that raise some very serious questions. The text messages, which are time date stamped, as most are completely counter to what is being said by Marilyn Mosby. The lead detective, Danielle Taylor, said she had handwritten case notes from prosecutors indicating they were going to charge the officers in the Freddie Gray case, no matter what the officer said and where the evidence led. This was politically motivated, and she was given a script that was inconsistent with what was true, with what was her investigation. And Taylor, this officer, said that she thought the statements in the narrative were misquoted, and it turned out they were purposely changing the narrative to reflect the Black Lives Matter narrative, not what the evidence said. Well, all 6 cases, by the way, against those 6 cops have been, well, they're set free, acquitted.
They've all been exonerated. And the word I was looking for is caudillo. It's a banana republic run by essentially a dictator who doesn't have to worry about law.
And unfortunately, we just ran out of time. Plug yourself.
conservativecannonade.org. Check it out.
And next week, I'll come back. I'll have your information about that Second Amendment argument we were having earlier. Can't wait to see you. United we stand, combined we kick butt. God bless America. God bless you. Read what I write at politicalpistachio.com. Learn more about me at douglasvgibbs.com. See you next week.
The preceding was a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Hey, it's Dave Ramsey. Listen to my show weekdays live at 11 a.m. here on